Mimi sitoshikangi. Mi msanii ndo utosheka. Msanii akiniambia simamia hapo. Niko tu like, but tungeweza there's this but mi sitoshekangi. Like I think for me it's not even in my place kutosheka unless nilea by the song tumepatia all it needs. Now it's for everyone to internalize and but Mimi I can go on and on. I can't remember what the song was, but we were struggling to find a comfortable key for the singer. So she would say take it up, I'd be like take it down. So what key are we in? I'm like C D yo alinisimamisha like aliniongelesha mbele ya kila mtu. I know you have to stop transposing. That's not professional and a lot of things and that's how I stopped. So that stands out is last year MDing for Zinnia. Yeah, it was one of the biggest projects I've ever had in terms of tracks. Like I had like 300 tracks to run and like arrangements here and there. It was crazy and it was crunch time. But I feel like that was it has been one of like the best one of the best productions. It was really nice. Yeah, well and I think in music the more you know, the more you realize you don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Watumishi podcast. I'm your host, the most you can call me Garvillo. Music is my name. Watumishi podcast is all about the home of inspirational conversations where we bring different personalities on board to just ensure we have their stories of how they came about, and as you well know them, how they were able to mentor themselves up towards the different ranks to where they are today. So our conversations are sponsored by Sauti Gang Studios located in Karen Village along Gong Road, where in case you have any nature of conversation of the same, in case you have a guest that you wish to host, you're welcome to the pod, and we'll attach our numbers below so that you can be able to get in contact and be able to book a session for that. Additionally, we are present in our social media handles, that is YouTube, Spotify, Instagram and TikTok as Watumishi podcast. You can be able to get there and get our content of the different guests we've invited, few shots of nuggets and attributes that have been talked about in the pod. Also, we do advertisements, and you can be able to get in touch with us through watumishipodcast@gmail.com. So once you get that, you'll be able to contact and be able to link up on the different sections that you'll require. So today yet is another episode, a heavy one of course, because we have the great musician in the building. So he's a director, he's a music arranger, he's a music composer, he's an MD of Mavuno Hill City, he's a Born to Worship movement bandit, he's an icon bandit, he's a pro pianist. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the one and only Lucas Mwesh. Yeah, it's indeed a humble opportunity to have to host you on this pod, you know.
Thanks, man. The pleasure is all mine.
Oda kituma M-Pesa anapata Lucas Mwesh ama anapata
utapata Lucas Mwesh, lakini unaweza call confirm hiyo jina utapata hapo. Call confirm ndakwambia kama ni.
Awesome. Yeah. So we just want to get through your journey of how you began, and basically we want to cover it down from where you were born, how you grew up, when did the interest catch up with you, and all that. So maybe you can start from where you were born, how did you grow up, where did you grow up, all that information.
Where I was born. I was born in Nairobi. I was born in Nairobi, in a very Kenyatta Hospital. That's where I was born. I was born on a Sunday to 1 a.m. So I grew up mostly in Donholm, and then later on transitioned to Utawala. So childhood yangu imekuwa like around Donholm, Utawala. Yeah, that's been my home base.
And the schools maybe you attended or you went to, where you studied?
Primary schools nilienda mingi. I think up to class 5, I think I had gone to like 7 or 8 schools.
Juu uzuri ama juu ubaya?
Tulikuwa tuna move around a lot. Yeah, tulikuwa tuna move a lot. Within Donholm, yes, but tulikuwa tuna move a lot.
Okay.
And then now once we went to Tawala, now that's when I got stability. And somewhere shule fulani hapo inaitwa Benedicta Academy. And then nikaingia high school nikaenda Queenas. And somewhere hapo all the 4 years in Queenas, sorry. Yeah.
And then after high school?
I went to KCA University and I did accounts. ACCA. That's, yeah. Unajua unasema, unaangalia hapa hakuna muziki mahali. But yeah. Muziki, I think background yangu, my dad is a pastor. My mom is she's in the praise and worship. She used to be in the praise and worship team growing up. So me grow up na childhood ya church na muziki. My dad can play the guitar, the keys, na bass, and then my mom plays the guitar and she sings. So hapo tu ndo
hapo ndo nilijipata,
hapo ndo printer ilitoka na hapo ndo muziki ilitoka. Yeah.
Maybe that interests me as you're growing up, since I'm seeing that all your parents are musicians. Which music did you grow up listening to that was majorly played in the house? Ulikuwa unajua nikitoka shule kuna kama muziki fulani musikia sana?
Kwaya. Tulikuwa tunasikiza kwaya. Kijitonyama, sijui kina hizi songs za Lulu. Kwanza siku za kusafisha nyumba, ile VHS ikishaeko hivi, you know. So like I grew up listening to a lot of choir music, Tanzanian music,
so that is basically what built your vocabulary by then.
Yes. Yeah.
So it interests me, maybe you've told me your dad plays more than one instrument.
Yeah.
You yourself, how many do you play?
I like to say I play one. I can play other instruments, but I can play them on my instrument. I can play like bass kidogo tu, and a little bit of guitar. Drums, I can't play drums to save my life, but yeah.
Oh, so basically also you have a know-how of the other, how they operate and all that.
Yeah.
So when did the interest in piano now strike you at most, when you felt like, hey, this type of instrument, I need to really maybe work towards it? I'm seeing here is where there is something at least it can be workable.
Well, first of all, like I started playing, like I learned how to play keys like when I was around 7, 8 years. Yeah, like keyboard was my very first toy. Like I mean, nilibuy keyboard ka toy. So but I can see my journey throughout. My dad being a pastor, I got the chance to play in church a bit. But I never saw it as like an income generating thing. Even through high school, I think high school ndo nilianza kujua like a bit there's more to music than just 1 4 1 5 and 6. Alafu so after high school, that's when me I used to play just to make sure that in church we sound good. But I didn't know that I'm actually almost hitting the standard. So when people had me play, they would be like, hey, who's that? Where do you play? And then back then I never used to get paid for anything. Like me, I just used to play.
True.
So I got noticed, and then now that's when I realized like, oh, like people actually do play too. So this is like after high school. That's like back in 2015, 2014. Mwanzo high school 2013. So 2014, 15.
That's where you did a lot of groundwork.
In
terms of knowing who you're able to be.
Yes.
In terms of putting ground on your art as a musician. Awesome stuff. Maybe what brands do you prefer currently
when
in
it
terms
comes
to keyboards? zile zinakuanga zina work for zile ukiziona kwa rack unasema this is gonna be a good one.
Well, I am a Yamaha fan. Like growing up, to grow up na PSR.
Yeah, na PSR.
So like PSR for me, like it's because atuna like the synthesizers who like the Prophets. Kuna like synthesizers for like nice second keys. But for me, nikiona especially when I'm playing for second keys, if I see my rack with a PSR,
good.
Niko sawa. Like I find like the tweaking is best, but I also prefer the Yamaha. I prefer montage and motif, and then I also prefer Cog Kronos, only because nimekuwa versant na hiyo keyboard, because it's what I play in church. So like I know how to tweak stuff here and there. Yeah. So those are the two mostly, and a Roland. The Roland as well. Yeah.
Okay, awesome stuff. So I believe across your playing, you've gotten in touch with so many keyboards, and maybe that what is among what you've talked about, what is that one keyboard given a chance said like, hey, Lucas mase nataka nikupe keyboard moja yenye nataka ucheze entirely for a good period, which keyboard will it be?
Roland Phantom 8, their very latest edition. Yeah. That one hata sikiri twice.
Awesome stuff indeed. Watu wanasikia hizo, watu wanajua Roland kweli. Because inanikumbusha pia mimi nikigrow up, I think most of the keyboards ulikuwa unajua ni PSR. Na zilikuwa zina advanced to 443, 460 nini hivyo. So coming to an eye opening place, you're saying kumbe kuna keyboards zingine
kuna buttons mingi kama ndege.
Alafu kujua kumbe kuna different heavinesses in terms of the keys
the
and
weights.
Okay, awesome. So I'm certain of your MDing. I believe you've done MDing also for quite a while, in terms of the different recordings you've had, the different people you've hosted. Maybe now we want to get to you as an MD, and maybe we want to get your nuggets on what do you consider for you to form a team. Let's say, for example, you have been given a concert or a live recording, and you're told you're the head lead for this specific concert. So Lucas, form me a team that will be able to navigate through this concert. What do you look into the people maybe you choose to form your team?
I think having been in the industry for a while, probably hitting 10 years. God. Yeah, probably hitting 10 years. I think I have been able to play with a lot of instrumentalists, and I am able to understand like their strengths. So depending on what the nature of the concert calls for, I am able to, in my head, I have a classification of certain instrumentalists for certain genres. So it depends. It wholly depends. I just choose basically based on their strengths. So that's basically the technique.
But as additionally to that, what are the things that you look into after you have the team? What are those things that you look into and maybe should be considered by every bandit who is in your team, in terms of ensuring that you deliver the product in a good manner, and also ensuring that still there's discipline that has to run in the team at the end of the day?
For me, what I call for mostly is professionalism. Musicians, like the people I have worked with, and being in a space for musicians, I find that a lot of musicians are plagued with a lot of life issues, and sometimes it can translate because art is what you feel. So for me, I feel like when you are a professional, you know how to compartmentalize, and for me, professionalism is the whole basket. People might say competence, others might say excellence, others might say like there's a lot of things that encompass like a musician, but all of those things for me in one basket is professionalism. So if you're professional, all I ask for is professionalism in terms of time, in terms of conduct, in terms of execution, also in the music, and the way you relate with others. For me, it's very important.
Those are the basics that have to be there. Oh, awesome stuff. And maybe still remaining on the same point, how do you ice break with bandits? For example, you can get sometimes maybe it's a very new team of people. What are those practices that maybe for you work for you in terms of maybe even aside from playing now, hii tu ni ile tu tunajaribu tukue open ili ukikuwa na ideas usifeel nasema hiyo msee aseme hiyo haiwezi sahi.
Well, as an MD, I think most of the time I stand on is inclusivity. Yes, sometimes I work with people who've been in the industry for like 20 years plus, and then there's like a Gen Z which is came.
True.
And for me, I remember nikiingia kwa industry and how the ideas of the people who've been there are the ones that ndo zinaekwa. So for me, I would encourage someone to, especially like newbies, to like changia. Well, but me mostly I come with my arrangements, but I would also encourage and make them feel included. But mostly it's a very interesting question because I think most of the times I have worked with people that already know each other because our industry is more of a scene, I would say. Like we already know, if you don't know someone, you know all of them. So it's
a bit easier to navigate.
Okay.
One of the memorable moments that you've had as a director that you cannot forget.
That's one of the memorable moments.
Ile moja tu inakuja tu ukikumbuka, like maybe it was a session that you had and maybe everything just went out well, or maybe everything just went out also bad. Memory can be either it must have been either good or it will have been things just failed here.
No, I think one that stands out is last year, MDing for Zinnia. It was one of the biggest projects I've ever had. It almost came close to Soulfest. In terms of tracks, like I had like 300 tracks to run and like arrangements here and there. It was crazy and it was crunch time. But I feel like that was it has been one of like the best one of the best productions. It was really nice.
And maybe your preferred timeline, for example, once approached, what's your preferred timeline for you to be able to build? Because I believe music is about emotion, it's about creation, it's about, it involves so much that at some point I don't know if artists understand, like it takes you too much to inhale the music, to try and get the sound, because you don't do like one try, you do try kisha unaamka una feel isi ile kitu gani, you still re-strategize. Maybe what have you considered maybe as points that you've put in place to ensure that also you are not squeezed on time to deliver the product as per your own maybe time of generation or creation that you require?
Well, so first of all, being an MD, I have to be ready like always. So the things I have put in place is like, if I am gonna run tracks, I already have like a template of like, I don't start from scratch. Like it's just a template where I can just come drag in stuff and like I have to make sure my workflow is. The other thing is when I am in my creation process, I have sounds that are my go-to. Sometimes I can have an idea and look for a sound, but sometimes a sound can inspire an idea for a certain project. And then I would also consider the genre. There are genres that just come simple to me, like R&B, neo soul, hip hop, like those kind of genres come easy. I haven't gotten like a really hard genre thanks to playing in church, because church is so versatile. Unacheza rock, next Sunday mnacheza sijui Lingala, next, Seven. So creation process yangu it inakwanga much faster because I have certain place things that I can access fast. So in terms of how much time I would need, I have never really thought about it. I mostly work with the deadline that an artist gives. So you tell me I want to do a concert in 2 months. I'm like, okay, give me your music. I would like to spend time with your music and internalize.
Okay. Do you think those 2 months nazimtosha mwa feeling bado, if given more time I would have? But of course you're working with their timelines, but in case maybe for you, even maybe for your own production, leo unasema nataka nikalie hii ngoma yangu, unafikiria how much time will you need ndio itoke vile unataka itoke?
Vile mimi sitoshikangi. Mi msanii ndio utosheka. Msanii akiniambia simamia hapo, niko tu like, but tungeweza, there's this side, but mi sitoshikangi. Like I think for me it's not even in my place kutosheka, unless nile by the song tumepatia all it needs. Now it's for everyone to internalize and but mimi I can go on and on.
And as a music director, I believe you have first to be very well equipped in terms of knowing the chords, knowing whatever, knowing the scales, knowing everything for you to be able to direct people. And maybe that is a question I used to ask is how was your music journey learning? Was it a practical theory practical? What was the approach? Music. Well, I started practically. I learned by ear a lot of transcription. I would stay like at night. I would like get a song. Like I would take Fred Hammond or Marvin Sapp, and I would sit there and make sure like one chord would stop reggae. Like ndaka hapo nisikize mpaka ni get your chord. And so I built my vocabulary like that. And then later on I got to understand that okay, so this is what we call this. This is what we call this. So right now I'm able to communicate to other musicians in terms of theory. And but starting off I started practically. It would be like minor 251, 736, like yes, those things. But when I was starting, I didn't know I just knew shapes. In a certain key. But that also speaks that ear is very critical. In fact, msema kona ear ako way better compared to msema hata kama unasoma theory. Unasoma theory lakini bado if your musical ear is still
application
down, itakuwa very tricky even to apply the knowledge. You've talked about tools that you use. Maybe I wish to know which tools do you use in terms of your production?
I use Logic, and I use like DAWs. I use Logic and Ableton. Ableton is my go-to workstation for running tracks. I find it more stable, and it's generally a better DAW for me. To me. So I use Logic mostly to create, Ableton to run.
Comparison of the two, zote ziko tu in a different space.
I think
in terms of the different
comparing for what I use both for, comparison ni kama race ya meli na gari, like ziko so different. Because I use Logic mostly for the sounds and Ableton mostly for like my workflow.
And maybe what are the things you do to always ensure that you develop your skill as you on a personal level, and also you remain upbeat in terms of how things are changing? Because I believe also the music scene, day in day out, new things are coming. Not new as much, but maybe zilikuanga but zimekuja in a different kind of way. What are those things that you do personally to ensure that hey, but I have to stay top still ukifikiria mtu nafikiria Lucas Mwesh.
Well, I practicing personal practice goes without say. It's very important to practice. I feel what also keeps me going is also prayer. Me hata sita kudanganya. There are days, there are weeks that I don't feel like practicing at all. And then like I just pray and it really helps. But in terms of staying relevant, like you have to be knowledgeable. You have to be knowledgeable. You have India YouTube. There is a lot of free resources. Our friends wanajua other ways of doing things much more efficiently than how you do it. Like learn, ask, and and also like putting yourself in a space where there are people who do what you do. You know, I think also that makes me stay relevant. Because most of my friends are also MDs. I know a couple of MDs in the industry, and I am very open in finding out how they do their own stuff. So it's important.
So collaboration is also good to just grow.
Very important.
Do what people are doing. Sikuwe tu kwa kakoni yako. Upate ule mbaya.
Wewe bado unatumia Excel 2003 na
watu walienda.
Watu walishaenda. Exactly.
Oh, okay, amazing. How do you describe your leadership style when dealing with as an MD now? Your approach as a leadership style.
My leadership style. It's laid back. I call people out when it's absolutely necessary. I have a lot of grace when it comes to directing music, but I can get very strict, especially when it's about execution and when it's about understanding like tuko na time frame. You know, everything about music is time. So tuko 3 weeks in na bado hujashika ile run. Like tutafanya but I'm a very laid back music director.
Okay. So it means that you have your own balance way of knowing umse sasa ni mchezo ameanza. Umse kweli ni kitu yenye haelewi completely.
You have to.
Amazing. I went through also your the social media and I got some of the music you've placed. Najua hii ni ya kitambo, SoundCloud.
Yo. Happy producer cut kidogo.
Back then I saw some 2 tracks there. I think one of them was Take Me to Church and then Lights Down Low. It was like kitambo, I think so. It should be a very long time.
Ndenda kuzitake down. Hizo ni 19 choblo. Hiyo ni kitambo. Hiyo ni kitambo.
Which is good. No, usizitoe zikapo for history.
Garvillo ulifikaje huko?
Research lazima unafanya, unaenda kila mahali.
Nayo mwako umefanya.
Amazing indeed. So also I've seen you involved with the different bands. One of them maybe that I saw you from the beginning was Icons, and also we have Ota, and I believe many more that I might not have known, but I know you are part of. How did you get to Icons? How did you join Icons?
Icons.
I'm one of your founders.
Me by them in one of the last ones.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there was a project that we were playing. We didn't even have a name then. It was Beyond Us. So we were playing for Beyond Us. There was I think I was showing up for a rehearsal that was after. And I found rehearsal Beyond Us ikiendelea. And so Steve was playing and he was like, hey, by the way, tunatafuta keyboardist wa kunini, come play. And then I think tuliingia hapo, and then when Beyond Us ended, people still sought after us in terms of a band, but we didn't have a name. So I think that's now where Icons was born. But that's how I joined Icons.
Ota,
one to another. Kogi is my good friend. We started playing with Kogi back in K Crew. So he's the one who recommended me to play for one to another. Yeah. So I played for the first edition. Yeah.
Nilikuwa na first edition. Nilikuwa nisikuwa huko ndani but nilikuwa.
Yeah, to the first edition MD for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Now you as a musical arranger, at what point did you feel like, yes, I know I'm playing the kids well and everything? I know you know.
I don't know because let me tell you something. Well, I think in music, the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So yes, I can express myself, but I think when I started getting, there are some types of gigs that give you some sort of belonging. So I think there are some sort of gigs that nilianza kuget, and I was like, maybe I don't think I'm that good, but there are people who think I'm this good.
Yeah, true.
And therefore it gives you a sense of belonging in the leadership, in the musical skill. Yeah, so I think that must have been probably after COVID. Yeah.
So now you said
nikasema okay, so watu wana appreciate craft yangu. Yeah.
Okay. Which environments thrives you as an arranger? Is it when do you thrive arranging? Sometimes for some people I think wakikuwa kwa hiyo jam anapata kuna ka idea. And some people maybe get to secluded spaces, just
seclusion. Mimi ni wa seclusion. Mimi ni wacha niende home, ni internalize, nisikize, ni get ideas. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Music arrangement for projects that for projects, maybe I can call them individual projects, and music arrangement for live recordings, are they similar, or it brings about there's a difference in terms of their work and in detail of them?
Individual,
yes.
You mean like an
artist? Like an artist on the side, maybe just doing production. Kawaida amekuja mkafanya nini akarecord
for live.
No, that's now for production
studio.
Yeah, studio.
Na against
na live.
Which one do I
the difference that you find in them, is the same in terms of how you arrange?
For studio, I think studio is a simpler stuff. I think the hard thing about studio work is like you have to be very intentional with what you're playing. I find for live you can be intentional, but sometimes your craft can, like, you can channel into your creativity in terms of spontaneity. Like you play within context, but something that is like, okay, But for studio, I have to know that triad is that triad, And I find studio is good once you get what the artist wants. Live is a bit technical, I think, because it's not just me, it's my ideas, it's the musician's idea, and it's a lot of people executing the idea. So I think the difference is technicality when it comes to both. So it all has its own mode of approach that you get to it. Okay, amazing. Maybe what are those checkpoints? Do you have checkpoints or things that you look across your arrangements to ensure that they are still creative and technically sound at the same time? Because I believe you can be involved in too many arrangements, but you still require them to still have a punch of you in them. Well, for me, I'm big on dynamics. The breakdowns, the hits, the the things that we don't take away from the music. I feel like we can express ourselves on the outros, on interludes, instrumentals, intros, band intro, those kind of things. Like we can go all out. kukumbusha watu sini wanoma. But when it comes to like muziki ya msanii, there's some sort of respect that you have to accord it. And it's very important for your authenticity isiishe. Yeah. So I try and be authentic as much as possible. Yeah.
And maybe during arrangement, of course, as you said earlier, as a musician, you face creative blocks. And how do you handle them for you? What are those distractions you do to ensure at least is like kweli leo imekata but ndajaribu kesho but sasa leo ndafanya nini?
Creative block.
What are those distractions that you do in case such instances happen?
Well, for me, I sleep. I can sleep like I think I can sleep like I'm talented. Yeah, like niko na talent ya kulala proper. So because sometimes mostly it's usually fatigue for me. Creative block also comes with maybe whatever, maybe if I'm going, it's been a long hard week or some sort of something of that sort. So me, I do everything else other than music. I can watch a movie, I can walk, take a walk. I can go a whole 3 days or a whole 2 days without doing anything that is musical. And then I can come back and listen. And then my other option is I can listen to things that inspire me. Yeah. So like the people who I listen to, like that have crazy arrangements, like I can listen to draw inspiration. A lot of Instagram and TikTok here and there. But mostly I will end up sleeping. Ni clear.
Ukiamka at least you feel a bit rejuvenated.
Yeah.
And maybe talking about those people you listen to at those points, who are those maybe people or icons or musical figures that you really listen to a lot? Yani on a day to day, ukipata tu unajipata tu umemsikiza most of the time. Without.
I listen to a couple of people. When I'm looking for crazy arrangements and stuff, I am usually inspired by some guys. There's C-Dub, there's a guy called Tiaron. He's done like mixtapes of stuff, like music we know, pop music, but like arranged to the core. Sometimes I listen to a guy called Josphat. He's a pianist, but his music is really good. Yeah. Kina Cory, Henry. Kina Jesus Molina and the likes. I also listen to Steve Mwanzo.
Steve-O.
I listen to Steve-O. I listen to a lot of covers that people do. Like Nick. Nick is also like really his page. Like unaweza get a lot of ideas from the things that he does. So I listen to, and then the artists. I find like the artists that I play for, having internalized their music, their way of thinking has also made me like understand that music arrangement can be very brittle, can be very like inaweza kwa small things. So like listening to also like Lisa Zinia, Njoki Karu, a lot of the artists out here, like
in a build day out.
Yes,
you might find ulisikiza kitu kitamba, but at this point is when it's making sense. Kitu kama inaweza wakapa na
exactly. And you internalize, you find yourself even when you're soloing, like you'll find yourself remembering, like inakaa mtu kutu like wow, it's like a wow moment when you're soloing. Yeah.
Maybe across your journey as a director, as an arranger, as a musician, as a pianist, what are those attributes you've learned yourself with time that are critical for this? Maybe someone is viewing us today and maybe wants to get to that point where he can be able to package himself or develop himself as this person in terms of what he or she is playing. What are those things that you've learned over time that are critical for the development of a person?
Man, you have to work hard. especially from a point of music directing, you have to work hard. Like, there's no shortcut. You just have to work hard. You have to stay knowledgeable. Stay learned. Usipatwe na vitu hivi tu, you know, like to stay relevant. You need to be just learned. Yeah, there's a lot, like I said, there's a lot of materials out here. You can and you can also ask, you know. Yeah. The other thing is leadership. Communication is very important. Very, very important. I'm not confrontational by nature, but when you're an MD, you have to call out people.
Yeah, true.
And even call out yourself, you know, and accept when you get called out as well. So there's just a lot when it comes to your personality and your mental. Be smart about what you're doing. Treat it professionally. Always handle every piece of work as if it is yours. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's your imprint that is there. Yeah.
It's like your fingerprint.
Exactly.
So if it's good, it's good. If you just did things because you wanted to do it, then
and it will show. It will show. Yeah, it will show.
But basing on what, but umecheza vitu mingi bana. In terms of versatility of music, I think you've played almost every genre I can think of so far. Because of even the artists that I always see with you, it means there's quite much. But I believe quite much you've also inhaled too much also for you to be able to put whatever you do.
You have to. You have to like.
You have to put in the work.
Yeah.
Hakuna put in the work. Process kama itakutoa kama itakutoa that's amazing.
Very important.
Have you ever had a moment where you've had to make a very difficult artistic decision or approach
in terms of music?
Yes, in terms of music. I said like labda sasa mimi ndio nifike ile level nataka, itabidi nipende nisipende, I'll have to do this thing till I get it.
Yeah. Well, you know, I love playing R&B and New Soul. New Soul is a derivative of jazz, but it's not jazz. Like, I can't really particularly articulate it as jazz. So I remember there's this gig I got, and I was like, hey, nimepatikana. And I had to like spend like nights and nights on nights, like, you know, trying to understand. And while I played almost to what the standards needed, ni one of those things that nilibaki nikijambia I have to learn whether I want it or whether I want to or not, you know. True. Yeah. That, and also like nakumbuka nikiacha kutranspose back in 2015. Nakumbuka funny story.
Which key was your first one before tupigie story? C. Kwa
sababu mi PSR ilikuwa inaanza na C. Nilikuwa najua that's always the first key. That's so nilikuwa najua tu C. And the transpose button. So I remember when I joined K Crew, nikutana na Pastor Liz. So I can't remember what the song was, but we were struggling to find a comfortable key for the singer. So she would say, take it up. I'd be like, take it down. So what key are we in? I'm like, C, D, E. Yo, alinisimamisha, like, aliniongelesha mbele ya kila mtu. I mean, no, you have to stop transposing. That's not professional, and a lot of things. And that's how I stopped. So I had to go home and learn all the keys. Yeah. I basically dedicated a key, 2 weeks a key. Yeah. So by the end of like 3-4 months, I was
moving across all keys.
Yeah. So those are some of the difficult, like, zile zimenikalisha home mpaka frustration.
Are there moments where kwa stage alafu kitu ikahappen, power ikapotea ama
keyboard ikaamka stand na Sasa naenda chini na keyboard yako yote mzima na kila mtu anakuangalia. Yo.
Unavaa hizo, unawaambia tulieni.
Una hope tu wase wa tech wako very wako tu standby, you know. But either way, I think for me, see, mu get to your butterflies just before I start performing, but everything in between, nakwanga too very comfortable. Yeah, so hata hiyo kihappen, I think I'll just laugh and tutajua tu venye itaendelea. Yeah.
Some of the highlights that you view as a person, stages zenye maybe ulikuwa unaona unasema hii stage ndai tafika hii stage kweli, and then you get yourself umepigiwa simu niaje tunakuhitaji hii place bana ukam like hii sikuwa nimeona inakuja saa hii. I don't know what you do.
Like some of those stages.
Some of those stages.
Well,
as you grew up in the scene.
Soulfest for sure. I was not even playing. Nilikuwa tu nimeitwa ni run tracks. Got to interact with a lot of musicians. I also saw the pressure that it comes with. Nothing new like in terms of pressure. But it was a lot. And it was a big stage. It was, that one was one for the books. Which one? What else? Also, playing for BN, I think so. Yeah, like going out and also playing in different countries. I think that was also one of the wow moments for me. But for me, I think also like aina hata si kujaribu tu throw a blanket statement, but I love all the artists I play for. Like I love their music genuinely. And I just thank God for all of them. It's I don't feel like I am entitled to play for them. I feel like it's a privilege that they actually consider my craft as special, as something that complements their music, and that they trust me with their music as well.
Early on while starting, did you think like music inaweza kupeleka hivyo blame kupeleka?
Mimi nilikuwa nenda kwa accountant bana. Mimi nikanisha kwa accountant bana. Nilikuwa nimeenda kwa accountant mimi hata.
Ulikuwa ushafunga hizo.
Muziki
unaenda kwa ofisi hapo una balance books.
Lakini muziki iliniiba tu kutoka shule tu polepole. Ilikuwa ngatu nenda shule jioni kuna kagig. Nenda shule jioni kuna kagig. Hivyo tu.
So maybe I might be interested in knowing maybe how many countries you've toured. Passport ishaja ya kwanza yuko ya
hapana ijaja. Ijaja tunaweza unataka kunipeleka mahali tunaweza. I've been to East Africa. I have been to Uganda, Rwanda and Tanzania.
How was your experiences in those specific areas in terms of their music? Maybe you can tell us how you felt their music was according to them. And then now how do you compare them to here in Kenya? What do you think are the differences, if there are any?
I think in my own experience, Kenyans took ahead in terms of, and this is just my own personal experience. I feel like took more versatile in terms of music, and while the rest of the other countries, they do a really good job. Like to call them up. We have some of the musicians that most people out there look up to. But Tanzania, like unaweza ingia and feel like you're in another Kenyan gig sometimes, because the musicians are equally good.
Nasikia uko wanaeka
we wanafinya ile kinanda.
Nasikia uko wanaeka kazi.
Wanacheza kinanda. Unajua huku tunasema tunapiga. Kwa wanasema wanacheza. But Tanzania is really good. I really nimeenjoy sana ku playing those different countries and to get to hear even their music and how they articulate their music.
Amazing. Of course, in any different space that anyone is, there's always criticism. There's always someone who sees mse bana cheza poa, kwani mse wanambeba sana. Or at the same time there can also be good criticism where somebody sees indeed mse nilimwona some years ago, sasa inapenda naona naona kuna a lot of growth. Have you ever faced both parts of the criticism? Ama uko time umecheza msanga it ni simple bro. Or also go the other side where umecheza and then someone just comes and appreciates and says, hey, by the way, that was such a piece, man.
I think I have faced both. You know, I think as musicians sometimes you never even know if someone is complimenting you genuinely. Ama tu ni wow, unafunga mse amecheza vitu simple, no unapewa hii job, unajua like you never know. I think for me I take compliments at face value. It's important for my mental health, because the moment you start really thinking about what someone thinks about your playing, then you might never grow. You might also I am my number one critic. By the time unakuja kuniambia nilikosea place fulani, mimi nishafikiria makosa, nishasikia vibaya, nishajambia vile nitaenda kuwork on it. So by the time unakuja kuniambia, I'm just like okay, I hear you. Yeah. So but I think I just generally accept compliments, and if you have if you want to criticize something, I am also open to it. I accept. I rarely deny if I'm wrong, and when I'm wrong I do take correction, as it is.
Japana kibodorias umeka tu video hivi na tu mtu comment ameka ambe we hii ni gani tena? Alikuwa brother serve the Lord, what are you doing?
I imagine hapana. I think nimekuwa graced na nimekuwa surrounded na people who wako encouraging too. And wale nimesikia wamesema, I think people just talk. People never stop talking.
True.
So
So regarding your practice, I believe also for you to maintain your craft as you have, there is needs of a lot of practice and consistency to be able to attain excellence. How do you practice, or how do you have scheduled practice works for you, or it's just random practice that works for you?
Random. I've always wanted to schedule rehearsals, but that has been the last 2 years. I really need to do better. But randomly. Sometimes nakanga kwa keyboard, especially once I'm done doing what I wanted to do and I have time, I just keep on going. So hapo ndo naweza practice. I have tutorials that I also tutorials niko nazo ni ngumu. Like ni vitu sengine mu practice na nikikata ku rehearse tena, nikikosa ku practice tena in the next 2 weeks ndasahau
tena inabidi tena again
like
start
from scratch. So those are the kind of tutorials like I have personally. But there are also those 1, 2, 3 things that you just hear on Instagram and I'm like, this sounds so good. Hey, wapi keyboard? So me place like in my house I have my keyboard just there.
Iko tu ready.
In case nikuwasha tu juu nikianza kufikiria niamke ni set up niweke stand just for one deal, unaona. But I really do try practice on a weekly basis.
Okay. So because I believe your schedule pay iko quite busy in terms of rehearsal gig. So even at some point it's very hard for you to say like niko na Sunday saa fulani nataka ni schedule the practice hiyo siku kitaeleweka, which is very hard. But something I also believe you get them while in those moments zinaingia tu hii idea nimefikiria vizuri, nikifika nyumbani ndaipata. And what I've seen also most musicians these days do is that they record every piece of work that they do or they minister with, so that you're able to go and sit home now and relax and listen. nilikuwa nacheza vitu vile inafaa ama nilikuwa
listening, let me tell you, I think listening back to myself is one of the things that I feel like I have come to accept because for the longest time I never loved how either the way the production was set or how it's just the keyboard that is too loud uski the rest of, but nikuja kurealize that I need to listen to myself, and when I am playing and remembering that I will come back to listen to myself, it also makes me play intentionally because kuna saa ingine tu unakumbuka kuna kiran fulani hapo cha pentatonic kunaweza chapa alafu kuja kusikiza ndo unasikia keyboardist, lakini hiyo run ilikuwa was it necessary? Yeah, so I've been learning to listen to myself. Yeah, it's very important.
Technology brings in a lot of things, and some of the things that you have also talked about are those things like loops, stems that build up music as we go by maybe in the current market. Maybe I believe kitambo, unajua ilikuanga kitambo, mtu anakumbuka ilikuanga keyboard yako beat kwanza umeshazitengeneza, umeweka diskette, ilikuwa diskette unaweka hapo unacheza, but with time we have new softwares and technological additions that we have.
Technology.
So how do you view it? Because vitu kama loops si kila mtu pia, unajua realizing si kila mtu anaweza maintain the loop beat na nini kama hizo. So for you, what did you do to ensure that in real sense mi ukinieka any place uniambie hakuna, uniambie iko, I'm still versatile, naweza ingia nayo iko because I've had a number of encounters. Mtu akiwa loop anapotea, anaenda nje, akitolewa anasema hasa hivyo nataka ikae hivyo ndio sana naweza cheza, and yet you, as we realize, hairudi nyo turudi nyuma. As you're going advancing, even sometimes utapata maybe hata vitu zimekuwa more.
I think mimi sitasema ati I ever intentionally put myself in a place where I have to learn how to play with like loops and stems. I think for me nilijipata at a place where I have to deliver.
That is the way to
So na mimi nimekuwa kwa bands zenye including Icons, nimekuwa kwa bands zenye ujui weka chao tukiendeleanga na unajua hiyo kushinda ukiingia kwa rehearsal alafu everybody knows their part, you never know, inakupush, so ukienda home inakusukuma. I also playing with drummers who make their own loops, like Jessiel anaweza kutengenezea loop hata ujui wani kwa wapi, like unajua like utu like hey bro wani kwa wapi, niekea metronome, you know. And then also like versatility, playing odd time signature songs, vitu kama hizo zinakufanya unakuwa aware, you count for yourself. Your drama kiwa pale 7-8 na guitarist pale melodi yake inaanzia kutoka kwa 3 ikiendelea narudi tena 3 na wewe uko tu hapo na chords zako zinaenda tu, hata labda chords zako ni almost 4/4 chezewa, you know, like those kind of things kind of open up your mind. So hizo ndo vitu zimenijenga.
Amazing. So with time too, I think ilikuja catch up kwa realize these things we have to catch up. And maybe watu wengine wanaonanga they get to live recordings, they see everything in sync. Wanashanga kwani hawa watu wameelewa hizi vitu zote lini bana, wanacheza ngoma kaa 15 na kila kitu anajua nani anaingia wapi, nani anatoka, nani ana nini. To break it down kwa msemo mwenye haelewi hizi vitu, what really happens in terms of after we build hizo vitu. I believe kuna mtu mwenye haelewi completely, anaonanga tu anasema hasa ni wabaya, kwani wale practice mpaka kajua vocalist anaingia hapa anatokea huku anarudi hivi.
So like every song has a structure. By the time you're performing it, you have a music director. You've gone for a couple of rehearsals. So we'll break it down to a song level.
True.
So performing a certain song, you already know there are sections.
True.
Those are known to everyone. That's what you sing. You sing the verse, you sing the chorus, the bridge. That's what the congregant knows. But us, we know the transition between chorus and verse. transitions can be a small thing as like dynamics, because there are songs that ni zouk tu kutoka mwanzo mpaka mwisho. So what differentiates dynamics? The other thing is that mostly when you see like live performances, you'll realize that most band members have a mic. If not all of them, at least one band member has a mic. That will mostly be given to the music director, who will call out the different sections. So you'll have, when we have our in-ears, we have cues where you get like your intro 2, 3, 4. So that like makes you kila mtu ako on time, you know. Yeah, so you have your music director who's calling out the dynamics for each band member, which by that time zinakwanga already kila mtu anajua, but you just need that one person who reminds you, because so everything is glued up. Everything is glued up by your music director and by the cues that we have in our in-ears, and lots of practice.
So that makes the performance indeed amazing. So mtu umekuja kuona one day not amefanya kazi bana months and months to be able to deliver it. So maybe I want to get now to the other side aside from music. Maybe I want to get to know what is the other thing that Lucas will be doing in case he's not gigging, in case he's not playing any instrument, in case he's not MDing, he's not arranging. What could be that one thing that Lucas will be doing?
You'll find me hiking, or you'll find me, I love entertainment. So dan watch movie, or if it's something that is income generating, no, my whole life is music. So I am just, you'll just find me watching a movie or niko outdoors, maybe with friends.
Ile account ulisema si ina play part sahi.
Hiyo account nilisema ina play part,
big times.
Inabidi. Because unajua sasa sisi kama musicians, you're not paid like monthly. You're paid according to the gig that some gigs can get you paid on the day, others you'll have to wait 2 weeks. Singine utazimbia happy birthday, utaimbia deni happy birthday hapo. Na last year nikuchezea msanii. So lazima manage. Huwezi anza kucount. Huwezi anza kucount your chicks before your eggs hatch.
Kweli. And maybe now being in the industry for quite a while, 10 years is quite a huge number to be there. Maybe what are those things that you make in place to ensure pia at the end of the day, even if I'm playing in gigs, I also need to be, we also need, if it's contractual basis or something that needs to put you in par, so that you are not still in the same cocoon of kubebeshana na watu, kuzungushana si tulisema tunaweka installment leo ni aje, mimi nishamaliza party yangu, what's
well, if it's a gig that I'm the one who's MDing, if it's a new artist, I make sure that we have like contracts. Mostly in Kenya, I usually find sometimes contracts come off as suggestions, because you can put a contract and someone wouldn't follow through with it. But I also check on the background of the artist, like who are they, what do they do, how do they handle the finance part of the business. But for me, basically, the people I play for, like tumekuja we have an understanding. I have an understanding with them, such that there's a form of trust that nime built now. So I am not in the caliber of musicians that are usually taken advantage of. Basically because nime foster a form of relationship with the artists I play for. It's not just music. So that helps me a lot. But in the event of a new musician, I mean the music director, mimi naonena hiyo extra mile to make sure that people get paid.
Na hizo incidents zinakuanga noma. Ni noma cause umse amesema mimi najua Lucas atatutetea. Mimi najua atasema kila mimi na expect aliniambia sasa tutakuwa fit so expect and then things don't work out there. Bro, wewe tena umetuachilia, who will be able to kutetea his sides?
In fact mostly I'll even text you before that Saturday because by the time nakwambia Saturday mimi nishaongea na msanii Thursday Friday inabidi
nishaambia lazima uchangamke
because inajopada is your friendship with other musicians. Utakuwa unakwenda ule MD mwenye unaitanga watu na uwalipi
which becomes a problem. And then nobody will know. Ukisikia tu nani ya MD acha ni tu
unaanza kunafanya
achie gigishe. Wow, indeed amazing. So I want to get back to the pianist bit whereby I believe you across your playing there's a lot that you've learned and maybe unaweza to scale down vitu zenye ni critical in terms of someone, a viewer maybe who is watching us and wants to indeed get to that level. What are those critical practice points? Do I call them points, attributes or segments that are critical for a pianist to have, to know? And those are a must skill. Hizo si ati unafikiria hizi sinaweza acha nisizijue nazijue wakati kifika but those have to be done.
I think how can I call it, like scoring songs. Take songs that are out of your comfort zone. And uchukue song ya Fred Hammond. If you're not into gospel, go look for songs like from kina Chaka Khan or you can go go get songs that are heavy instrumental and try and break them down. And sometimes have someone who unaweza muuliza like, does this sound like what I'm hearing? You know, because pia huwezi jimakia tu virahisi. Huwezi jimakia.
Utakuwa unajipea 100 kila siku.
Exactly. So I think it's very important to score, to break it down, you know. The other thing is practice. Increase your vocabulary. That's the other thing, because it's the same things like Muziq, tuko na 4 chords, augmented, diminished, major, minor. But tuko na the extensions and everything. Na my flat 13 does not sound like your flat 13. Why? Because I have more vocabulary, like increasing your vocabulary. Na mimi, I will always stick with the fact that you have to stay knowledgeable in terms of your music. Try and know what you don't know, you know, and perfect what you know.
Skiza sana pia.
Skiza, because mimi nakumbuka there's a time I was playing with Lisa and we were in Sarit Center and Alinyeke, there was a song she wanted me to play. And man, I was like with my phone, like, I was like, okay, so this is how it goes, and then I was like, alafu nikaicheza, you know. But now you see, for you to get to that point, you have to have practice, experience, exactly, like, do it kabisa, usichoke, like hard work too.
Lazima, inabidi.
If you work hard, uta work smart, easier. Like, siku zako za hapo mbele zitakuwa easier kuliko,
Are there any non-musical traits that have made you a better musician?
Non-musical traits?
They're not related to music, but maybe it can be about your personality, it can be about how you carry out yourself, that you feel have made you a better musician. It can be your personality as well.
Mimi, I consider myself an introvert. I don't talk a lot unless someone talks to me. I'm not a conversation starter. But I have figured out that being in leadership, I have to communicate adequately. And so one of the things that in music I used to dread a lot is solos. Because solo ni umeachio, unajua, ni wewe utuongeleshe, utuambie ni nini na wewe kutoa pole. So ni waambie, like, wewe imba nikucheze chords sawa. Lakini ati ni mimi tu nicheze chords na. So and that communication has made me a better soloist, I think, also as well, because now I think like I am the one who's telling the story, you know. You don't know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, true.
What I'm going to say is not wrong or right. Like, it's what I have to say.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. So I think that has made me become, that's the only non-musical aspect naweza sema. Yeah. Imenipatia courage. Yeah.
Awesome. Maybe in a few days to come, in a few months, in a few years to come, we expecting tukuje tu concert moja ya Lucas Mwesh pale tutulie, Lucas Mwesh atupigie muziki 2 hours.
Absolutely. Like, I'm really looking forward. I have already started like writing my own music.
Amazing.
So absolutely, I really want one day watu tu wakuje to consume to like muziki yangu. Yeah, na watu tu appreciate.
What is your inspiration behind what you write?
Things that I have been through in life, transitions. I don't take change well. So, but like nimejipata in a lot of spaces that require a lot of change. So, kama tu wenye tu anatuambianga pia like ukipata heartbreak usiwaste your heartbreak, ingia studio tuandikie album. Itoke bana. Tasaidia bana, tasaidia mtu mwingine kwa
atakuwa analia nasema kumbe si mimi peke yangu.
Kumbe kuna mtu anaelewa what I'm going na unapata pesa. Unaget. But yeah.
So it's also seeing the environment, and seeing how you can also to be able to make it work.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, amazing indeed. Even as we close out, maybe there's one thing I wanted to also inquire about, maybe social media handles, and do you handle trainings? Do you train people? Ulisema
not yet.
Watu wajivisha.
Acha niseme not yet. I help out. If you shoot me, nakwanga so bad na communication on social media, but I do try. If it's help with something that I know, I can definitely help. Okay. Yeah, but I haven't started coaching, but I'm looking towards that.
Looking forward towards it.
Yeah.
So any social media platforms that you are in, and the official name, so that people can be able to follow and get to see your work and be able to put you on toes. Hey, umekaa sana.
So Instagram, Lucas_Mwesh. TikTok, Lucas Mwesh 60, I think. Yeah, Lucas Mwesh 60. Twitter, Lucas Mwesh. Like, yeah. I'm the only mimi to Lucas Mwesh too on social media. On Threads pia and YouTube. Lucas Mwesh. Yeah.
Ndio nilikuwa at first nilifikiria ni Lucas Mwesh.
No, ni Mwesh. Mwesh ni short form for Mwandwa. Yeah.
Amazing indeed. Wow. Such an amazing conversation. I believe everyone has gotten the nuggets that they are supposed to collect. Kila mtu abebe yake moja as you build yourself towards being a better musician at the end of the day. Also, it's not only about music. These niches help you across whatever you practice, be it you do photography. These are niches that talk about consistency and everything that pertains the different crafts that we do. So thanks for coming, Maz. It's been a pleasure. It's been awesome just to get to know you and crack down on who you are and get to know the stages. So I believe everyone, even who is watching it, seeing it's a process. Nothing comes easy. Today you see him anywhere, jua kazi imefanywa hapa katikati ni ulojamuliza kwambia. Okay.
Thank you so much for having me as well.
Karibu any day anytime pia na hope nikupigia na kuna kitu nataka unisaidie hapo tani. Kama Garvillo ishia wewe.
Naomba uko nayo piga simu.
Yeah, okay. Appreciate, ladies and gentlemen, until next time. Kudos.